What's up, family? I know it's been a while. Oh, everybody's being noisy. I am actually out at the barn right now. I've got one, two, three sets of kids out here. One that was just born last night, and then I've got these guys that I'm sitting in here with that were born 2 days ago. And I just try and come out here and spend some time, just so they get used to having, oh yeah, baby, having people around and stuff. But I just thought I would give you an update, say hello, and I don't know, I've been having this thing that I've kind of wanted to talk about something. And it's, I'm in a lot of like farming and homesteading and mom groups on social media. And first let's do this. Let's do an update real quick. So I have just one more goat that is left to kid, Holly, who is my Nubian that is, I think she's like 4 years old now. So she's kidded before. I'm not too worried about her. Of course, I say that, knock on wood, because she's going to be the one that has an issue. Although we have had a few issues this year. Anyways, Holly's left a kid. She is ginormous, so I could totally see her giving me triplets or quads, which she has done before. At the minimum, she usually does 3, but she has done quads at least twice. So she's left a kid any day now. She's huge. I have this little doe. I'll turn it around so you can see her. This little doe and her babies. She did just fine. She had no problems and kidded virtually. Oh, actually, I take that back. I think the little colored one needed to be pulled, but the black one came out just fine on her own. Or maybe it was the other way around. Anyways, 2 doelings, no problem, just fine. I had a doe that kidded last night that no problems. She did great. She had a doe and a buckling, but everybody seems to be doing good. They're nursing well. I had a doe that kidded the other day and actually lost both of them. One was stillborn. The other one was alive, but not well, and only lasted for about 24 hours. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. My only theory is possibly he was stuck and it caused the other one to not be able to be born, and that's what killed her. And then him being stuck, he just, couldn't get, was ready but was stuck, etc., and was still alive but not very much. And then Briar, my first one to go, she had 2 does. One didn't make it, and the other one is just fine. They're doing great. I don't know. I think I had said in the other video that I think there was something wrong with the other one. It was nursing, but it wasn't like wagging its little tail. And usually when little animals drink, they wag their little tails, and that says that they're getting milk and stuff, and it never did. And it only, I tried everything. I tried to get it to latch, gave it a bottle, nothing, and just nothing. So, so anyways, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 healthy babies right now. We've got 4 does and 1 little buckling, and everybody else is doing good. So I'm just waiting for Holly to go, and then we will be done with kidding for the year, which I am kind of ready to be done with kidding. It's always a little bit stressful because, we care about the goats so much. They're more like a pet than a livestock for us, because we've had them for a while. We brought them with us, when we moved and everything. So anyways, but we got some really flashy kids this year. I'm super excited about these colors. So yeah, but everybody's doing good. Mamas are doing good. The one that lost her little kids, I am milking her twice a day. So we've been getting some goat milk and stuff. So that's been fun. But this kind of actually brings me to, in a roundabout way, to my whole thought process here with the goats, with any other animal. I have seen a lot of people in the last couple of months in moms groups, non-homesteading, non-farming groups, that say that they are wanting to get goats for milk. or chickens for eggs, or want to raise their own, chickens for meat or whatever. And I absolutely applaud anybody that wants to raise their own food. Like, go for it, do it. But my concern is the lack of understanding and research happening that I see, and this could be totally different no matter where you are or people or whatever, everybody's different. But just from what I'm seeing, the lack of preparation and research that seems to be happening before people, or the lack of understanding, because I cannot tell you how many times I have seen people say, oh, I'm going to get chickens for eggs because the ones at the grocery store are too expensive. And yes, eggs at the grocery store seem to be expensive in some places right now. However, penciling out how much it costs you to buy a chick, raise it for 6 months before it starts laying eggs, have it drop off production during the winter, because no matter what you do, your chicken is not going to lay eggs in the winter, or not very many. And yes, I know that there's a few rare, oh, my chickens lay eggs all the winter. Fine. But it's not going to do it every year. And in 3 years, when your chicken stops laying, what are you going to do then? So penciling out those costs, the replacement costs and the feed costs and all of that, and then, what about loss of chicks, something, the neighborhood dog gets your chickens. I don't think that people quite realize how much goes into raising livestock for production. They're not penciling out those costs. They don't really have a true understanding of, what those costs are. Dairy animals, for instance, you have to milk them every day, sometimes twice a day, and you have to feed them adequate feed. People seem to think that you can get goats and just throw them in a field and they'll quote unquote eat everything and then you can milk them. And that's just simply not true. What you put into your animal is what you get out of it. So if you want, hi mamas, if you want production, you're going to need to feed for it. They need high quality hay. They need grain, most likely. Most dairy animals are not grass fed. So you're going to need grain, minerals. They need vitamins and minerals. So it's takes a lot more thought process than what I think people truly realize. So that being said, if you are coming here on YouTube and you're trying to get information about dairy animals or chickens or, raising your own meat, good job, first and foremost. Thank you for researching before you get them. And definitely do some research. We have a couple of videos on our channel, some how-to videos about, raising different things for meat and dairy. And we're going to be coming out with some more this summer. I'm going to do some more kind of how-to videos on different animals. But it does take some effort, and it takes some work, and it's expensive. It can be expensive, especially if you're feeding high quality feed. We definitely get people, hi baby, that come to us and say, oh, why is your stuff so expensive? Or, why are your meats so expensive? And, I could totally break down the whole cost for them, right? We feed soy-free organic. That's first and foremost. It's 3 times as expensive as conventional feed. You can buy a conventional bag of feed for 16 cents a pound, and my feed is anywhere between 50 to 60 cents a pound. So, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you talk about the fact that we go through 3 tons, you do the math, that's a huge cost difference. Raising animals out on pasture, it takes a lot more labor and time to raise animals out on pasture, and therefore adds to the cost of them. So, I think people have a skewed idea of what food actually costs to produce in a quality way than what you might get at Kroger, because the stuff that you're going to get at Kroger, or if you're on the West Coast, maybe Vons or Safeway or Food for Less or whatever it is, that's not the same product as what you're going to get from your local farmer. it is a different product. So you need to understand what those cost differences are and why they're going to be more expensive. I'm going to turn this around because these little babies are... Hi. Hello, cutie pie. Anyways, it's just, it's just, whew, that's not gonna work. I got it. Anyways, it's just, you just have to understand, one, if you're gonna raise them yourself, what it's going to take for you. And two, if you're buying from a local farmer, you need to be conscious of the fact that they're not going to have the loss leader prices that you might find at your local supermarket. So you're buying, from a local farmer for a reason, because you want quality food and not conventionally raised. Well, you're going to pay for it, and you're paying for their time. You're not paying for, a giant conglomerate or whatever to pay their farmer pennies on the dollar so that the executives can make a buttload of money. Because I can guarantee you the farmers at some of those big chicken companies aren't getting paid near the amount that the executives, the CEO and the vice president and all that, are getting paid. Probably pittance compared to what they're getting paid. So anyways, I guess this is sort of a rant, and I don't want to go too long into this, but the goats are mad. They can hear me talking, and they say, "Let us out." I've got everybody separated right now, so they're about done with being separated from each other. But I like to give the mamas a little bit of time just to get used to these, get used to being mamas and their babies, just to be steady enough that they can support themselves and we don't have any concerns. But anyways, so that's that. Nothing much else is going on around here. Just kidding and moving animals around, getting ready to get the garden in. Ryan's going to go pick up some cattle panels today so that I can fence it off, because the dogs like to use it as a resting place, I guess. And I don't want the chickens, just in case the chickens do get out, I don't want them getting into it and messing up all of my plants. So we're going to do that pretty soon. Plants are getting big. I've got chicks in the incubator, or eggs in the incubator, chicks in the brooder. The baby bunnies are 2 weeks old now, and they're starting to venture out of their nest. I'll insert a picture right here. So they're starting to venture out of their little nest, their little nesting box. And I've got another rabbit that is due to kindle any day. I think next week she is going to be ready. So yeah, but that's about it. Just hanging out. We're doing good. And if you're going to get animals, if you want to raise animals for yourself, I absolutely applaud you, and I absolutely encourage you to do it. It gives you quite the appreciation for the amount of labor and time and everything that goes into it. But just do your research and know. If you have any questions about what it takes to raise any animals, we raise chickens for eggs, goats for milk, cows for beef, chickens for meat, pigs, any of that stuff. Please don't hesitate. Ask in the comments, and I can either answer you or I can make a whole video about it if I see that it's needed. But yeah, have a great one, you guys. I'm going to leave you with some pictures of some of our newest babies, some video, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for hanging out. Bye. Okay, so I am sitting out here filling up the chick water, and I'm sitting on the dog's straw bale bed, so that's why they're all over me. Anyways, and I'm down at their level, and immediately as soon as I am down at their level, this is what happens. So I was working on editing the video that you saw before this, where I talked about, getting animals, starting homesteading, etc., etc. And there's an opposite side to this that I also want to kind of rant about, I guess is the right word. And that side is farmers, us as farmers. Okay. Mwah, mwah. Now get down. Get. Anyways, it's us as farmers, right? And the public, because that's who we serve, is the public. So, and I actually just sent an email about this to my email list just the other day. And basically my point is farmers don't make enough money. For the bottom line, we don't make enough money. And when we as a farmer, when I go and try to charge what I consider a fair wage for my product, I can't tell you the number of people that say, that's too expensive, I can go over here and get it for X amount. Now, that being said, right, my product, my chicken, my pork, my beef, my lamb is unique. I'm not comparing myself to Kroger. I'm not going to compare myself to anything that you can get at a quote unquote grocery store. Possibly you could compare what we do to a butcher shop, but a lot of times butchers buy their animals from a stockyard, or they have a source for, hundreds of animals. So they're not being raised like we do, right? I mean, we literally hand tend our animals. We check on them every day. We move them. We rotate them. They're not in confinement. We spend the time, and people ask us, and I said this in the email too, people ask us, well, why do you do that? It's way more expensive. It's way more time consuming. It takes so much more effort. And the answer is very simple. It's because, in my opinion, and that's all that matters in this case, it's the best way to do it. It's the best quality meat. It's the best quality of life for the animals. And it's the best quality of life for my pastures. So that being said, us as farmers that are raising a product like mine, I'm not talking about conventional people, and I'm not talking about confinement people, and I'm certainly not talking about mass-produced, people that are selling to distributors. I'm talking about people like me that are raising animals the way that we do. I'm talking to you, so listen, put your listening ears on. You need to charge a fair price for your product. And when I say a fair price, I'm not talking about a fair price so the customer can afford it. I'm saying you need to charge a fair price so that you can make a living, so that you don't have to have an off-farm job for health insurance. You don't have to have your spouse working to support your farming habits. Like, how does that make any sense? Do you think that there's doctors and teachers and nurses and bookkeepers and marketing professionals that are plumbers, electricians that have additional jobs so that they can afford to be plumbers and electricians and marketing professionals and teachers? No, nobody does that. Why do we do that? Why do farmers do that? Why do farmers have additional jobs so that they can continue to be farmers? How does that make any sense? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why this is happening. Because farmers have been taken advantage of. Because farmers have been told for decades that they're stupid, that they're podunk farmers that don't know anything, that they're not worth it. So the people that feed you 3 to 5 times a day are being taken advantage of. The farm workers are being taken advantage of, and the actual farmers that own the land and do the animals and do what they're supposed to do are being taken advantage of. Because society over some point has told them, and told you as a society person, that the food that you eat should be cheap. And it's crap. You've been sold a crap story, because food that is cheap is not healthy. Food that is cheap is raised cheaply. I mean, you get what you pay for, right? And you're putting this in your body. So don't buy cheap food. I understand it's hard. Like, I understand. Trust me. I have 3 little girls. We eat 5 meals at home a day. I understand trying to afford quality food, but there are things that we go without. I don't get my nails done. I don't go to Starbucks. I don't get the hair. Clearly, I don't get the hair. We don't go on lavish vacations so that we can afford to eat quality food, so that we can afford to eat organic food. You know, we don't have big car payments, et cetera, et cetera. But back to my point in this whole session here, this whole rant, farmers charge a fair price for your product. Know what your product is worth. You're a farmer, you're a weatherman, you're an electrician, you're a plumber, you're marketing. I mean, think about all the things that you do and go see what those people are making. And I can guarantee it's more than what you're making. Why? Why? Because you think that you shouldn't be charging a fair wage. And do you know what happens when you don't charge a fair wage? You go out of business. You burn out. You stop farming. We're losing farmers, and we're losing farmers because they're not making any money. That's why we're losing farmers. We're not losing farmers because they're retiring. I mean, we are, but honestly, why aren't their kids taking over then? Because they don't make money. And because those kids have been told for decades, for generations, farmers have been told, you don't make money farming. You don't make money farming. You can't make a living farming. You know what? I call BS. It's time to stop that narrative. It's time to stop. We need to pay our farmers a fair wage. We need to pay our farmers the same fair wage that we would pay our bookkeeper, that we would pay our doctor, that we pay our car mechanic, our plumber, all of those people that we pay a fair wage to. We need to pay our farmers that. And farmers, you need to start asking it so that the public gets used to you charging a fair wage. So know your costs and price profitably. Anyways, that's my rant. Like I said, I was editing and listening to myself talk about homesteading and just how people think that they can do things cheaper, you know, by raising their own chickens and all that kind of stuff. And it just got me thinking also about the other side of it, right? The other side of the coin and us as farmers. So if you are a person that's not a farmer, support your farmers. Go to farmers market. Buy from farmers directly. I can guarantee you that there is a farmers market or a farmer access point within at least an hour of you. So make it happen. Do it. Because if you don't support farmers and if you don't support the farmers that you want growing healthy foods for you and your family, then we're not going to be here. We can't make it. I can't make it if we don't have support. So that's my rant. I'm going to leave it at this. Thanks for following along with us today. I'll keep you updated if Holly has her babies, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.